all about building connections, networking, and mentorship. But if we're being honest, come on, networking events, they're a little awkward, right? Not just me. I'm not alone. Networking, we know, can seem a little unnatural sometimes, especially if you're a bit more shy or introverted. Or maybe your mind goes blank when you're trying to make that first impression, or you feel the need to overcompensate for your nerves with false enthusiasm. Whatever your situation may be, don't worry, we've got some ladies that are here to help you out. They are no strangers to those feelings, but they have mastered the arts of networking and mentorship. Anne Drummond is a daughter, sister, partner, and mother, a volunteer, speaker, gardener, and a closet karaokeer, and Advanced Midwest as Vice President of Marketing. She guides the events team for Cleveland.com and MLive Media Group, exemplified in today's gathering of women, the branding and promotion of Advanced Midwest, publishing, media group, and lifestyle brands, and coaching and guiding the creative team that serves their digital marketing agency clients. Patty Glaza is the Executive Vice President and Managing Director at Invest Detroit. Her primary responsibilities include sourcing and facilitating the development of early stage and high growth companies by providing guidance and investment capital. She engages in outreach activities supported by a diverse network of experienced entrepreneurs to support inclusion efforts, to help ensure that women and minority entrepreneurs are proactively mentored to build their high potential tech startups. And last but not least, we have Dawn Ford, the owner of North Channel Brewing. She is devoted to leading the brewery into the future with her adaptive and visionary leadership style. A lifelong learner, Dawn received her MBA from the Seidman College of Business at Grand Valley State University in 2022. She's been involved in the mentorship program at Grand Valley for 2 years as a volunteer pro mentor that works with senior students. If you can help me welcome those ladies to the stage. So what I was saying was, how do we begin this? You can Google, how to network or what are great networking questions, but how should one approach a networking event? And I'll open that up to the floor here.
So I think one of the things you'd like to do is focus your intent today, whether it be personal or professional. Seek out, if you're looking on a professional track for professional growth, seek out people who belong to associations or people that are in your industry. So I own a brewery, and I don't look like a typical brewery owner because I don't have a beard. At least one that you can't see from me. And also I'm a woman, so I just want to encourage everybody out there today that even if you bump up against the norm in your industry and you're looking, there are ways to find other people with some common ground. But if you're looking for professional growth, seek more organizations and associations. If you're looking for a mentor or networking for personal growth, then I recommend more like nonprofit organizations with religious affiliations or charities. These are really great places not only to give of yourself, but to find people to connect with.
I would just give the advice of be curious and ask good questions. They don't even have to be good, just ask curious questions. It really, looking around the room, you don't know what someone is doing, what type of job they have, where, what hobbies they enjoy, what their backgrounds are. So just being able to start a conversation and be curious about somebody else and see where that dialogue leads you. It might be work, it might be family, it might be the hobby. So don't go in with the expectation of I must find this exact person, right? Just go in being curious and open-minded, and I think you'll walk away with a bunch of friends.
I think just assuming
that the other people on the other side of the conversation are in the exact same boat as you, and recognizing that, oh, there's that moment of awkward, and then it opens up into this moment of shared experience, vision, and understanding. Wait for the moment. It will come, and just launch. Just launch.
Love that. That's some gems already in that first question. Thank you so much, ladies. So we talked about how it can be a little awkward, and a lot of people maybe avoid networking events for that reason. So even though we know we should be networking to help advance our careers, how do you reconcile the fact that we should be doing this, we should be networking, with that equally strong discomfort of having to do it?
Well, I'm a pragmatist, so I put it on my to-do list. Right, you could make a day of the week, or, get depending on your organization and how you work, and understand yourself and know how to make yourself do something. For me, it is put it on my to-do list, make it a piece of homework that I have to do, and make it like somebody else assigned it to you, right? And, use that, launch from there.
Patty or Ann want to add anything to that?
My approach is more equally pragmatic, but really it's around how do I choose what to say, and how do I choose that interaction and make it work for me and the other person. And the truth is that if you enter into conversations with multiple threads in mind, something they can pick up on and connect to, and you are more interested in what they have to say than sharing the thing about yourself, it will ring true for that person. Multiple threads, to me. What does family look like for you? Is it really simple? Well, there's this many children, I have a partner, this is what life looks like, or even where do you work? You tend to respond in the immediate, most direct version of the answer. And if you take the twisty road to get there, you provide to the answer. You provide so many more things for that person to latch onto and connect with. Someone says, what does family look like for you, Anne? I'll say, well, I am an only child. Both my parents had new families. So in my father's family, I'm the eldest, and in my mother's family, I'm the middle. So I have every complex of birth order that exists. I don't know what you think of that, or if you put any credence in birth order, but what is that? Which of those resonates with you? And then you pause and you wait for them to fill in the gaps, and suddenly there's a connection. Really, it's putting it on your list, but creating opportunities for them to connect with your response.
I like that, putting it on the list, because I'll forget otherwise. I've got the mom brain, I have a 10-month-old. Definitely have to make a note of everything, otherwise I will forget, so I love that advice. How can we change the narrative that we may have in our heads that networking or asking somebody for help to advance our careers or to be our mentor is taking advantage of somebody else?
Yeah, so first, I think we all say that person must be too damn busy, right? And so why should they help me? And so everybody just take a quick look around the room. Is everyone you looked at worth mentoring? Yes. Yeah, right? And so are you, right? So everybody is worth it, and you have to have that confidence and believe in yourself. But I also think as women, we sometimes want to make sure that we're seen as accomplishing things in our own right. And so we might be, not wanting to ask for help, thinking that if we ask for help, that may mean that's, we didn't achieve something on our own. And I think we really have to step away from that. Because think about everything else we do in our life. We ask for help from everyone around us, our moms, our aunts, our husbands, our partners, our children when they get old enough, right? We're always asking for help. But sometimes when we enter the workplace, we forget that we can ask for help there too and be successful. So I would say, thinking about asking for help as a superpower, not as a weakness. And so really, really channel that superpower of being able to reach out to folks and ask for help.
Anne or Dawn want to chime in?
I think being willing to articulate the thing you need help with is a really important step too. I've got this area, but over here, I find myself really challenged. I recognize that you're terrific at this. Could you give me a few tips? Is an easy entry into a conversation that will feel like both parties will receive something from it and have a really meaningful conversation that they can walk away from. I find that when we say something, when we invite someone to mentor us, or can we sit together and have a conversation, and it's open-ended without real purpose, you find yourself wandering a very twisty road, whereas going into it with what you want to achieve and the outcome you want to come away with, and articulating that between the members of that mentor-mentee conversation is a really great way to begin. And what you discover is, when you walk away from that conversation, you have 16 more things on your list that you'd like to talk to that person about, and you can invite them again.
You kind of touched on this. Oh, here. Thank you.
Like this broken glass.
So we kind of just touched on this, if you want more than just the connection on LinkedIn, you want an actual mentor. Is it really as easy as just walking up to somebody and asking?
I guess I would say finding some common ground before, if you have the chance to do that. And one example of that would be if you're alums, of educational institution. Something like that gives you some common ground to say, oh, I went to Grand Valley, and that shared experience of, oh, I had that professor, or I remember that course, or just some kind of common ground. If you can find something about your industry or your backgrounds where you can connect, it gives you that reason to walk up to that person also. And so you can be shy and look them up later on LinkedIn, but I would say for today, practice being uncomfortable. It's not easy, just you have to practice being awkward, just like I'm sitting up here. Answers, and also want to talk back to follow, so.
How would you say that you nourish that relationship to keep it going so that it's mutually beneficial for both parties?
That's a really good question. So I do think that you have to have some commonalities and some good, some shared values as well. Otherwise, relationships, they have a hard time growing. Finding the right person to be a mentor, or finding the right person to, have as your mentee, is kind of like finding a therapist sometimes. You have to have some connection. Maybe you're not the right person to connect with. Maybe you can send them on their, help them find that right person. So you don't have to be everything to everybody, and if the relationship is, organically grows and it feels right, that is the right thing for you. And if you're faltering and you're wondering what's going on, get another professional to help you.
I would say look for the person that speaks other people's names in rooms. You're looking for the person who lifts others up over themselves. Someone who isn't immediate to take, I don't want to say take credit, but they find it their responsibility to lift others up. And if you're looking to do more of that and gain more connection with those kinds of people, exemplify that behavior yourself. Be the person in a room who's willing to say, this person helped me. These people made this possible. It was not just me. And if you challenge yourself to exhibit that behavior, others will come to you in that same light. Right? This event today, I'm responsible for the team that did this. I'm responsible for the team, but there's 3 people in this room. There's really 15 people in this room. But V, Smith, Lauren, Logan, Sean, Irwin, those are the people who did this event today and who made it possible for 356 women to connect with each other. They are the people who did this, right? And I would shout their names in any room that I find myself in, with a microphone or not. So look for those people who are shouting other people's names and be that person.
In addition, though, to finding someone that uplifts you, remember you're also looking for people that will tell you the dang truth, right? And you can do it in a respectful, compassionate way, but you need those people who can be your foil, that can say, hey, you're doing a great job thinking about this, but maybe you forgot about A, B, or C, or hey, you're doing great here, but here's some steps that will really help further you. So really, don't be afraid to have someone who's willing to be direct or transparent or call you out, as long as they're doing it in a good, positive way. That's the joy of having people who mentor and advise us, is people who can give us the truth. So look for people who are not afraid, but again, who are compassionate about how they do it.
Okay, wow, I love this advice, ladies, and you have all been mentors. You have that relationship with several people. What would you say that you get out of investing your time in a strong mentorship relationship?
As a mentor, you learn more from the person that you're sitting with than you anticipate. I have someone in my past career who every year on a certain day sends me a photograph of chocolate cake. I mean, you guys all have inside jokes with people that you've worked with in the past. And for her, that was the week everything went wrong. We've all had one, right? Everything went wrong. And together, I just like, okay, today's the day we do it over. And it starts with chocolate cake. For her, it started with chocolate cake. For you and me, start with something else. But she sends me a photograph of that chocolate cake every single year. And it's the moment where we share in the, yep, begin again with kindness. So capturing those moments and recognizing that you're going to have a lasting effect from those conversations, regardless of which side of the conversation you're on, because you really are both mentees. You're learning from each other.
So there's a Buddhist saying, if you light a lamp for somebody, it will also brighten your path. I think that saying for me refers to the reciprocity of in the interconnectedness of our lives. And I achieve personal growth by helping and lifting others up. That's kind of how I feel. And I just believe that the reward is baked into the relationship itself. So.
Yeah, I think you can find, it is about that learning journey, right? I love mentoring younger folks because I have two, 18, 20-year-old daughters, so it helps me understand them better, right? But just understanding the changing world, right? And whether it's, age, whether it's religion, culture, being able to find people who are different from you and be able to provide the guidance that you are good at, but being able to learn something else about how somebody else is navigating the world. You can learn from every single person. We've all been through such different journeys, no matter what your age, no matter where you're from. And so sharing and experiencing that with another person gives greater soul to everyone.
If you were to give one piece of advice or one tip to the women in the room today, what would it be?
So I'm going to double down on the be curious and just ask lots of questions. Asking lots of questions, there's a great book, I think it's called How to Ask Good Questions. And it's just so fascinating in terms of, that power, the power of being able to connect and using questions to connect with someone. And practicing, it takes practice to figure out how to ask the right questions, but it can be from, oh my gosh, you have the most prettiest dress on today, I love those flowers. What kind of flowers are they? Yeah, right? but learning how to start that connection, but by asking good questions. So power of asking.
And I'll just challenge you again to practice being uncomfortable today. The start of this conference was amazing, and it feels like a safe space to me. So and we're all women, we're all here to support each other and to bring ourselves to grow professionally and personally. So do that today if you can. And to my introverted friends out there, I know networking is exhilarating, but it's also exhausting. So, plan a few minutes in the day somehow, somewhere. I'll just say that I will be hiding behind my phone at some point today. That's okay. Or maybe I'll be sitting in the bathroom for a few minutes because I know that I need to recharge in order to get back out there. Allow yourself that, okay?
And I would say, just assume that every woman in here is having the same experience you are. Whether you came into this room and you're like, power surge, right? You know what I mean? Or you had to set every single thing down in your life to find this day off to do this for yourself. Or whether the morning didn't look exactly perfect to set you up for being in the right headspace for today. Like, we all are in that same boat. So invite real conversation about those things, because there's no perfection, just the seeking progress.
All great advice. I love that. I want to ask a follow-up question for Patty, and then also a little bit, you touched on this as well, Anne. For all of us that will be networking today and making these connections, what would you say are some tried and true questions or topics that you've found success with? I know you mentioned, and what does family look like? And then Patty, you said make sure you ask those questions. So is there one that you go to break the ice that people might not be thinking about asking that helps to break the ice?
It's funny, I have Dusty, a good old friend I used to run a women's entrepreneur class. And one of the first things we did, the very first meeting, we sat around a table and I'd say, okay, you need to describe yourself in a way that doesn't have anything to do with your career. And the power of having people to think about something about themselves that has nothing to do with their career when they're in the mode of their career and trying to network really threw people off. But it builds that, oh wait, what am I interested in outside of work? Who am I? And so I would say start with a question that doesn't have to do with work or career, something that gets a little bit more personal. And if that fails, go with the, oh my gosh, that color looks amazing on you. Do you love the color red, right? So, be genuine. But I would say, trying to find something in common or find out something about someone that has, especially in this room, right? Because we're here to network for career, that doesn't have anything to do with their career.
I totally agree with that. It's all about who we are as people over what we do professionally. And if the whole conversation is about, well, what do you do? Well, what do you do? Then the conversation is over. There's so many more facets to our lives. We are women. We are mothers and sisters and friends and colleagues and people who support other people and people who are you're someone's person. And if you know where that came from, you're my people. You are all of these things. Look for those things to express. What you do for work is part of who you are, but it's not the lead. Very lead. Right?
I would just add to that, if all else fails, ask about the pets.
Who would not have thought of that? I'm glad we asked that question. Thank you, ladies. Some true words of wisdom here from the panel. I think we've got time for some audience questions.
Hi there, I just wanted wanted to comment on what Patty said. Patty, with Invest Detroit, actually helped to run an Inform program, which was a really intensive mentorship program for early stage entrepreneurs. So there are also formulated programs out there that help you really find an entrepreneur from within your industry. And what I learned working with Patty and Inform really changed the whole trajectory of my personal career. That was the first time I'd ever been mentored. It was like 10 years ago now, Patty, and it was really life-changing. So there are programs out there as well.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Kim Zymek. I live in West Bloomfield and work in Warren. And I just wanted to offer a suggestion, if I may. Instead of asking for help, because anytime you ask for help, sometimes people go, uh-oh, what am I getting into? May I suggest that you ask for counsel and guidance? It works every time. If you're talking to a man, and I know there's a man in here, you're feeding the ego, and that's sometimes what you want to do. I am a certified coach and mentor also, so I've been through what you're talking about, and it is amazing to watch the young women and also senior women that you mentor, watch them grow, watch them be excited, watch them become a value add to their team. So I just wanted to offer that to the counsel and guidance. It works 150% of the time.
I have a lot better reason. Exactly. Closing the race.
So I guess my question for you guys is, obviously you've all networked a lot in your lives. What is one of the biggest successes that you've had from networking with other women?
It's interesting because the big success is that you're describing, like, what's the big success? For me, it's tiny, tiny moments that led to something much more lasting, much greater, that fed me personally or my career. But it all began with just meeting someone, describing, who we each are in a very authentic way and creating that relationship. So, we could make some analogy about, it's the acorn, wait 40 years and suddenly it's this beautiful, but the truth, there's truth in that. Forge those relationships in those tiny moments and then don't lose them. Connect with them later on LinkedIn, like write down the women's name that you met today, exchange business cards, have an exchange of phone number, talk to the women that are around you because they are as important as the person who's like guiding the conversation at the table where you'll be sitting. And you just don't know where that long-term thing will come from. Friends, people who started as like little interactions at a conference might down the road become your employer. That's happened to me. Friends that you meet at a conference or that you really dig into a difficult subject matter with, suddenly you've had this shared experience, and that's the person that you call on in 5 years to say, will you help me create that same experience for this other group of women? That's happened to me. So don't think of it as instantaneous or that this great big thing came from that. Just, you don't know which moment will become the big thing. So treat them all like that.
Hi, I'm Cassandra. I just graduated from the Lead One and All program. Can I see hands of anybody who is just getting out there just now? So every one of you have been to a networking event, yes? Okay, I have too, but this is the first time I've been to one where they prepped us. So I'm really excited. I'm also really awkward by nature, and I was born gracefully impaired. So what I wanted to say was, how do you, as entrepreneurs, begin conversations? What is you guys already talked about go-to questions, but like, how do you approach someone? Like literally the very first thing that you do. I was in line getting breakfast, and I don't know if I can point it out, but there was someone in the room today that the first thing I said, I think, was, how far did you drive? And so what would you say to start off that conversation? Like, what are your very first words? I know I'm putting you right on the spot, like literally.
Well, when I came in this morning, my allergies are so bad today. My fellow sufferers out there. So I met a couple of ladies and asked where they were from, and I got this great advice. And I don't know if that person's in the room this morning. Thank you. And I was complaining. This is not how to start a conversation. So I'm sorry, I'm going down the wrong track. But you just don't know where conversations are going to lead. And she just gave me the most lovely advice. I was drinking hot tea, thinking, I gotta get my throat right. And she said, you know, just hot water with honey will do that for you. And I walked over and found some honey, and I was like, hallelujah, thank you. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's my story.
It can be as simple as, what brought you here today? Right? Again, going back to it's not about you and why you're here, but what brought the other person. What are they hoping to gain from the day?
I feel like this is, a conference like this is, for a lot of folks, they look around and they're like, oh, this is like a cocktail party, nervousness, I don't know how to, right? Am I the person that's at the outskirts of the party or standing in the corner or like in the middle of the kitchen pouring the next glass of wine for the host, right? And you find yourself slipping into that role over and over again, and you have to force yourself into the other versions of that role. But I'll share with you that there are two kinds of people that you'll meet at a party. The person who behaves like, here I am. Or the person who walks in and says, oh, there you are. And be the one that you want others to really engage with and latch onto.
There's not an unfriendly room in this place, or in this room. So, this is a safe space. Try new stuff today, because most of us are not going to be in the same room together again. So just try new stuff. Be brave. It's fun. Make mistakes, right? Ask the wrong question and then laugh together, right? So enjoy the fact that we have today and just practice.
Let's do one more.
Hi, I always say that we should be authentic, and we should be vulnerable. And I always say there's two questions to ask every day. What did we do for ourselves? And we're all here today, right? So we already figured that one out. And the second one is, what can we do for someone else? So at 8 o'clock at night, we should be able to say what we did for ourselves and what we did for somebody else. And if we can't, our life is not in balance. So we are the authors today of our own life, right? So let's be vulnerable, let's be authentic, and let's make some new relationships.
Thank you so much to Patty, Dawn, and Ann for all of your valuable insights and words of wisdom. Truly appreciate it. I learned some good nuggets of information that everybody else out there did as well. Thank you so much.